This week, we leave our van in Melbourne at the JB factory to have some warranty repairs done.
Alright, well we are officially homeless.
We fly back to Perth to stay with family before returning to collect the caravan after the repairs are completed.
Back to the caravan today, so looking forward to seeing it and not looking forward to repacking it.
Make sure you hang around until the end, where we'll run you through our experience with the warranty claim. If you're new to our channel, we're John and Elle, and our three boys, Bryan, Alec and William. We've thrown in the 9 to 5 to travel this beautiful country of ours for 12 months. Make sure you hit the subscribe button to join us on our journey.
Hey Bryan, put all this stuff neatly, like pack it biggest to smallest, all got to go in that box. Okay?
Like what?
So pack it like Tetris, okay? So
What
see
is
what
happening?
fits.
Okay.
Okay, but so you want all the small stuff
In first?
Yeah, okay. So, we are not moving out. We are packing up the van to get some work done, and it's basically the same thing. We're moving out into a storage room here at the JB factory, and they can do their thing and then move everything back in. So it's a huge effort. The kids have been doing their schoolwork while we've been starting this, and yeah, it's just a big job, but anyway, we are getting there slowly, and fingers crossed the Melbourne rain doesn't start up, because it was raining this morning as well. But anyway, lots to do, so let's crack on. So we have been here for 2 hours and it doesn't feel like we've achieved a lot, but the kitchen is all empty, like the cupboards are all empty except for what we're going to need tonight and tomorrow morning. So yeah, have to figure out what we're going to take with us and make sure everything out of the fridge is empty. Even have to take the beds out. So we're actually sleeping in the van tonight, so we're just keeping what we need for food and drinks and bedding, and we're taking with us to the airport, which isn't much because we've only got carry-on. So thank goodness we've got family in Perth who we can stay with, because it's just like a huge exercise, because this is our home. So for 12 months everything we need is in this van, so to pack it all up and leave it, it's a pretty big deal. But yeah, we're making progress. So
You'd think we'd be able to leave some of this stuff, but there's just all these little things all over the van
yeah,
that need to be done. So
yeah, there's heaps of little jobs, and it is what it is. So
it's just easier to empty it all so they don't have to worry about any of our stuff in the van when they're doing the work.
yeah, let's see where we are in another 2 hours. But yeah, I mean, that end of the van is fairly empty because the bottom half is the washer. That's empty. Yeah, just got to go and put it in the room most of this now and get under that bed, and there's not very much under there anyway. So tunnel boots done, bikes are off. Yeah, just big
Pantries and
exercise.
stuff's done.
And we're on an angle. We're parked on an angle, so you sort of feel like you're not all together, but anyway, you just do it because you don't have a choice. So if you are living in a van or you're planning on it, maybe have a think about how that might impact you and what you would do in this situation, because we hadn't considered this happening. But
we knew that we needed some work done, but we didn't
yeah,
think it would,
we thought,
like the estimate they've given us to do the work.
6 weeks.
We just thought we'd be able to get a place in Melbourne for a week.
Originally
or
we thought we'll just hire an Airbnb for a week or 2, but they're saying 6 weeks at least. But it better be just 6 weeks. So anyway, it's because they're not just working on our van, they're working on lots of vans. So
yeah, I think they said they've got like 40 vans in the yard.
yeah, it's just the way they operate, and we don't have a choice if we want them to do the work. So anyway, we're getting there. we're down to these 4 bags. The van's completely empty and we've spent the last 2 days here at the factory. So we're heading off to the airport tonight and back to Perth for the next 6 weeks or so. And I'm heading back to work tomorrow, so I've already got 5 days lined up. So yeah, see what happens.
How are you feeling? How are you feeling now?
Bye bye. Bye bye Caravan. Bye bye car.
Bye bye car.
Bye.
Well, this is our first family holiday, first trip on a plane, all 5 of us. And yeah, definitely wasn't what we'd expect we'd be doing, but hey, we're looking forward to seeing you, Nana and Granddad.
We'll find our way back home. We'll find our way back home. No, we'll never have
2, 3, 4.
So you wouldn't have thought that only like 20 minutes ago this guy here was like tearing the terminal apart. He was way overtired and now he's crashed. Thank God.
Not gonna step back. Not gonna step back now.
You might see some towns when you get up there.
We're gonna reach the clouds.
We're going up.
I'll be the friend that is standing there. I'll be the hand holding all your cares. I see you.
Bit of an eventful flight. Alec had an allergic reaction, we're assuming to dust mites. So we didn't sleep. I think John and the boys slept, other than Alec. So it's now 12:30 Perth time, which is 3:30 Melbourne time. And I'm going to work this morning, so I've made smarter decisions, but the money will be much worth it.
No way. Hi. Look who's here. No. Oh my god.
How are you?
Doing that.
Surprise.
Oh my god. Hi boys. Hi Caravan. No,
We've broken another leg.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
No, you're serious?
No.
Oh, I was like, oh,
We
yeah.
haven't actually broken another leg. We're back for 6 weeks though, so yeah. I thought I had to come and surprise you.
I'm so excited.
We're down at Matilda Bay. We've just brought the boys down for some fish and chips tonight. But this spot is magic. Just really pretty, shallow river water. There's always some swans here. You've got boats everywhere and just pretty old trees and rolling grass. It's located just behind University of Western Australia, so if you're going to Cottesloe, you'll probably pass this spot anyway, so grab a coffee and check it out. The views of the city are stunning. You can see Kings Park from here as well, and it's just a beautiful place. Been working really hard since we got back to Perth. I've picked up relief nearly every day, and really looking forward to hitting the road, returning to that nomadic lifestyle.
Honey, we could put the past in the backseat. You don't have to see us all.
What?
Look,
Look at what?
how the big aeroplane.
Well, after 8 weeks, we are back on the flight to Melbourne, and yeah, what a whirlwind trip. 6 weeks of work, 2 weeks of school holidays, and back to the caravan today. So looking forward to seeing it and not looking forward to repacking it, but it's exciting.
Nothing in our way. They keep saying time flies, but baby we're the pilots. We'll be flying wherever we want tonight. Baby we're the pilots. We're the pilots. They keep saying time flies, but baby we're the pilots. We're arriving whenever we want.
Alright, so that's where the filming stopped on that day. Unfortunately, we weren't able to pick the van up that day. When we initially dropped the van off, we were told it would take 6 weeks to complete all the work. And we were like, oh, that's the way it is. They weren't willing to put us up in accommodation while we were there, so we had to arrange flights to go home because we couldn't afford to stay in Melbourne. So that, yeah, they said 6 weeks, and I said to them, when I get home, I'll ring you next week just to give you a bit of time to actually have a look over the van, look at your schedule, and work out how long it will take. Because I said to them, when we do come back, we will be taking the van because we can't afford to stay in Melbourne. And so I rang them back next week. The date they gave us to come back was 7 weeks from when we left, so that's fine. I had a look online, found a flight. The best flight for us to get back was actually another 6 days after when they had said to come back. So all in all, they had 8 weeks with our van.
Yeah, and before we left, we spent a decent amount of time going through all of the warranty issues. They took photos, they wrote notes. There was 2 staff there, one of the actual warranty repairmen and the warranty representative lady, and they were all apparently on the same wavelength. This was also followed up with a detailed email so that there was no confusion. It's a clear list that they could work their way through. Yeah. And then halfway through the time we're in Perth, I sent them another email to say how we're going, what's been completed, and all we got back was everything's on track. So you take that at face value. We were a little bit concerned, a bit apprehensive because
They hadn't really addressed anything that Elle had asked in the email.
Yeah.
It was just a pretty short email that just said everything's on track. And we understand that they're quite busy. So, I mean, what can you say?
Yeah.
Just took it on face value, like Elle said.
Yeah, and the last few weeks before we actually returned to Melbourne, I made some phone calls, spoke to the warranty lady, and she said, yep, we're all good to go, especially a few days before we arrived. Was the last phone call, and there was no indication that the van would not be ready. And yeah, when we arrived, we had to wait for an hour and a half before we
Actually, even got to see the van. They
Yeah.
said because it was a public holiday the day before, there was still just a few little things to do on the van.
which
So,
was a joke.
What do you, yeah, I mean,
Honestly,
they had
like-
8 weeks.
Well, they said 7 weeks. We gave them an extra week because the flight that we chose was 8 weeks later. So the public holiday
Is
is irrelevant. Like, don't tell me there was a public holiday.
Oh, that was just the start of the excuses, really.
Yeah, there was lots of excuses and there was no apologies from the warranty department.
Bear in mind as well, like, we got up at 4 o'clock, 6 o'clock flight, 3 boys. When we got there, we just got an Uber and then went to the factory. So we didn't get a chance to have lunch because we thought we were just going to pick up the van and leave. And so by the time we got to look at the van, it was like 3 o'clock or something. And the boys
Yeah.
hadn't had lunch.
So initially they made us wait half an hour and then it was an extra an hour and a half before we even saw the van. And when they brought the van out, when you saw that footage, it went over a few speed bumps, and when we actually walked in, the work that they'd completed had obviously been done that morning because some of the glue was coming off and it had basically fallen apart and had only driven
Yeah.
50 metres. So good luck to us if we'd taken delivery of the van that day. As soon as we saw that, we're like, well, yeah, we're not taking the van.
It's just surprising. You would leave something that needs to dry or cure till the day that you're going to deliver the van. So
We discussed with them the fact that we couldn't take the van. So we agreed that they should put us up in accommodation while they get it sorted. Initially, they said it'd be done in 2 days. So they put us up for 2 nights, and it wasn't done. So we put us up for another 3 nights. Still wasn't done. So we stayed another night in a motel. So 6 nights before we actually took delivery of the van. And I would highly recommend persevering in those situations, because
don't accept something that you're not happy with, because once you take it, you're going to really struggle to get it addressed again. And I'm not just talking about JV, I'm talking across the board. If you're getting a new car or anything like that, I've heard of people buying new cars and they're assured by the salesperson that any issues they've identified will be addressed. So the person takes ownership of the vehicle, and then after that, it was like pulling teeth to get the work done. So if you find yourself in a situation where you got to take an item such as a car or a caravan or even like a house from a builder or whatever, make sure you're happy with it before you agree to take ownership of it.
Yeah, we'll continue to do that. We're realistic that it's a home on wheels. It rattles, things happen, and that's why we chose JB, because they have an excellent reputation for their after sales service.
And they had a good warranty as well.
Yeah.
3 years for the internal stuff and then 5 years structural. So
yeah,
that's probably the clincher that made us go with JB, that and the after sales service reputation.
It was a hell of an experience, especially with the 3 little boys. Melbourne wasn't particularly enjoyable because we were worried about what was going to happen to our van. We were stressed out about the situation, and we didn't want to be there. We hadn't, funded expensive experiences in Melbourne. That's not our travel style. So at the moment, we really enjoy hitting the road and being pretty much anywhere except a big city. So anyway, we took the van, we hightailed it out of Melbourne. We were so relieved to be out of there, and we're happy with our van. We love our van. It's just poor customer service, really. It's a really
that's pretty much
good example of poor customer service.
Customer's always right.
Yeah.
And the customer doesn't want to hear excuses. Like if you haven't delivered, well, then you just do everything you can to fix the situation. You don't come up with all kinds of excuses as to why.
Or at least give us a heads up.
Yeah.
Yeah,
tell us it's not going to be ready and we'll change our flight or whatever.
Yeah.
Like it would have been cheaper, even if they had to pay to change our flight. That would have been cheaper for them than putting us up for 6 days.
Yeah. So an experience we are very glad is over, and hopefully we'll never experience that again. But this is the reality of what you're signing up for.
Yeah.
If you do something like this, and
you can see it all the time. There's heaps of people that have problems. Like whether it's an accident or just a product failing. People have axles break and wheels come off vans and all kinds of stuff. So
I feel like we've had a few bigger issues. This is 8 weeks out of our big lap. We had another 3 months out of our big lap when Alec broke his leg. So our big lap has turned into lots of short little stints.
Lots of shakeout trips.
Yeah. What number are we up to now? So anyway, you just put a smile on your face and get on with it. And we're back to doing what we love. We're really excited for the content that's to come out in the next couple of weeks.
Yeah, you can probably see I've had a haircut. So we're filming this a little bit later when we came to editing the video. And we've done a heap of stuff since Melbourne. So we've got a heap of cool things coming up. So make sure you stay tuned.
Yeah, make sure you hit that subscribe button, that like button if you like this video. It really helps us out and helps us keep going on the road. And we appreciate your support.
And anyone that has had to go through a warranty department before, doesn't matter what make of van you've got, drop down in the comments, tell us your experience, whether it was good, bad, or ugly, and let us know what van you got so that people can see what other people's experiences have been. Because I'm sure there's people out there that have had good experiences. We've got friends who dropped their van off, had the full back and side and everything replaced. It took 2 weeks. and when they rocked up, they were stoked. So there are companies out there that do a good job and have good customer service, and we've heard from people that have JBs that have had good experiences and things like that. But
it depends on the people on the day, and it depends on
situation.
what's going on for them as well. And there's a lot of variables, and we're realistic to that.
So I do hope that we're the minority, but I mean, you do hear of other people with similar stories. So
yeah,
that's our story. So we're going to be real with you. So
yeah. All right. Well, we will see you next episode, and if you've made it this far, thank you for your support.
see ya.